All right, welcome. Today we're going to dive into a real powerhouse tool for network security, one that's used by pretty much everyone from home lab builders all the way up to enterprise IT pros. Yep, we're talking about pfSense. So let me just ask you something. What if you could get the kind of robust network security that big companies shell out a fortune for, but for a grand total of, well, $0? I know it sounds way too good to be true, right? Well, that's pretty much the promise of pfSense. So what is this thing really? At its heart, pfSense is an open-source firewall and router that's built on FreeBSD, which, by the way, is a super rock-solid and secure operating system. The best way to think about pfSense is like a highly intelligent, totally customizable digital gatekeeper for your entire network. It stands right at the edge between all your devices and the wild west of the internet, and it decides exactly what gets in and what gets out.
Okay, but why does this one particular tool matter so much? I mean, the world is full of security products. Let's break down why so many people absolutely swear by it.
Here's the key thing you've got to understand. pfSense isn't just a simple wall. It's more like your network's complete command center. Yeah, it secures the perimeter, but it also acts as the traffic controller, it builds the secure tunnels for remote workers, and it's even the security guard checking IDs at the door. It's this all-in-one combination that makes it so incredibly powerful.
All right, so we get the big picture of the roles it plays. Now let's pop the hood and really dig into the toolbox to see the specific features that make all of that happen.
And wow, this is where you really see the insane level of control you get. You can write these incredibly precise firewall rules. You can use NAT. That's the magic that lets your whole office share one single internet connection. It can hand out IP addresses automatically with DHCP, and you can even slice and dice your network into secure little zones using VLANs. Oh, and it can even create a captive portal. You know, that familiar Wi-Fi login page you see at coffee shops and hotels?
Okay, so all these features sound great on paper, right? But where do you actually see pfSense being used? Out in the wild. Let's look at some real-world examples.
The short answer? Just about everywhere. Small businesses use it to lock down their office networks, schools use it for content filtering and keeping students safe, even massive enterprise companies rely on it for things like managing their VPN connections. And of course, it's an absolute staple for all you home lab enthusiasts out there who are learning the ropes. That incredible scalability, man, that's one of its superpowers.
You know what? To make this feel a little less abstract, let's walk through a super common scenario. Let's pretend for a minute that you and I were the IT admins for a school. We've got students, we've got teachers, and we've got some very sensitive administrative systems we need to protect. So, how can pfSense help us out? Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is grab that VLAN feature we were just talking about. We can basically create these separate, totally isolated virtual networks. So, all the student computers, they go on VLAN 10. All the teacher computers, they go on VLAN 20. And then the really critical stuff, the servers, the management systems, that gets its own super secure lockdown network on VLAN 99. They might all be plugged into the same physical switches, but pfSense keeps them worlds apart. And this is where the magic really happens. We create one simple firewall rule. It says, traffic from the student VLAN, VLAN 10, is allowed to go out to the internet, but traffic from the student VLAN is explicitly blocked from ever reaching the management VLAN, VLAN 99. So now there is no way a student, whether by accident or on purpose, can even see, let alone access, the school's main server. That one simple rule is the foundation of real, actual network security. See? That simple school example really shows you the kind of power you get when you start combining these features. And that really brings us to the heart of it all. What makes pfSense a true open-source powerhouse? And then there's this. Probably the most shocking feature of all. You ready for this? The price tag, the licensing cost for all of this insane enterprise-level power, it's $0. A big fat $0. No licensing fees. You can download it right now, install it on your own hardware, and have a firewall that goes toe-to-toe with products that cost thousands, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars. All right, so let's just recap the big takeaways here. First off, pfSense is just immensely flexible. It works for your home lab and it works for a massive company. Second, and this is super important, the technology itself is just a tool. Real, meaningful security comes from designing smart, thoughtful firewall rules, just like we did in that school example. And last but not least, you get all of this advanced power without that punishing enterprise price tag. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Knowing that a tool this powerful is also this accessible, it just makes you wonder, right? What could you secure with it? Your home network? A small business you're helping out? Maybe your next big project? The possibilities are pretty much wide open.